It's time for another Dice Tower review with Z. Garcia.
Hey, today we are taking a look at a drafting game called Medieval Academy, in which you are trying to be the best knight you can be. You are trying to woo the princess, suck up to the king, become the best you can be at jousting, among several other things. The game, like I said, is played by drafting cards and then playing those cards. Let me give you an overview and then I'll tell you what I think of this one. Here's what the game looks like set up for 3 players. I'm going to be showing you a pretty basic overview because there are a lot of variants you can play with this game. Every single one of these tiles has a reverse side which changes the way you can affect that tile, and I'll show you just a glimpse of that, but really I'm just going to be showing you the basic game. The way the game works is, the idea of the game is to get the most victory points. The way you'll be acquiring those victory points is by going to these different classes, basically, or these different quests in the this Medieval Academy, and by having the best, highest token on each of these tiles. In this game we have blue, yellow, and the green players, and so the flow of the game is the way the game works is a drafting game. And so here we have the game turn. The first thing we'll do is we're going to deal every player 5 cards from the deck of cards here, and each card affects one of the tiles, and they have values from 2 all the way up to 5, as you can see. And so that's the first thing. Everyone gets 5 of these. And so, second thing, let's take a look at our game turn here again, is we can draft those cards. The direction of drafting is depending on the round it is. This denotes what round we're in. There will be 6 rounds in the game, and the arrow around the round lets you know which way we're drafting. This marks what round we are on. And so this round will pass to the left. I have my 5 cards. I can keep any one of them. So let's say I want to keep one of these, so I can use it on one of these boards. And I will pass the rest to the next player, and I will get 4 from this player. Let's grab 4 random cards here. These are my next 4. Let's say I want to continue with that strategy. I'm going to grab another one of these and pass these 3, and so on until I have a hand of 5 cards again that I have drafted. Next up, the third phase here is playing 4 cards, starting with the sword, which means the start player is the person who has this, and going clockwise. And so very simple. On my turn, I would play a card in front of me, and I would affect one of those tiles. And so normally every card ties into one specific tile. This affects the dragon, this one, the classroom over here. But these with the sword can affect either one of these two. And so I could choose, let's say I'm playing yellow. With this 3, I can move up 3 on this one or 3 on that one, alright? We keep going around doing that until everybody plays 4 cards. You always have 1 you did not play out of the 5 you're holding. Next up, we score according to the scroll on each tile. And so let me show you a close-up here of what one of these scrolls looks like. Let's take a look, for example, at this one here, the king. And so the king says that the scroll on him says you score at the end of the 3rd round and at the end of the 6th round. And this here next to that big scroll means we reset that track at the end of the 3rd round. After we score, we reset it. And so there's that, and that's how those work. As you can see, these here score every round. This one scores every round, this one, and this one here score only at the very, very end of the game. So only at the end of the 6th round, alright? And so, next up, we've got resetting, if it happens, like I just showed you. And then lastly, we change the first player marker, which is the big sword, as I said. Alright, so let me show you briefly what each tile does. Again, at the end of the game, whoever has the most victory points is the winner, and you're going to be getting those points from these tiles. Let me show you. The first tile you have to score every round is this gallantry tile. which allows you, whoever's in first place for this tile, is going to be able to move a different token or actually any token, move it 3 spaces. Second place will be able to move a token somewhere 2 spaces, and third place will be able to move their token 1 space, assuming the game has at least 4 players. The way you do this, however, is in reverse order. So third player, if applicable, will do this, then second place, and then whoever is actually winning on this track. So this one lets you affect other boards. This is the jousting, and that is very simple. Whoever's winning gets 3 victory points. Victory points, by the way, look like that. And then second place gets 2, third possibly gets 1. This board operates the exact same way. If you don't go to class, then you lose victory points. In this case, whoever's in last place loses 3, and second to last loses 1. Alright, next up we have the king here. You're trying to entertain the king. The way this one works is if you end up, you only score this at the end of the third and the 6th round, okay? So you have half a game and then half a game again. But if you can get all the way up to here, at least, you'll score 6 victory points. If you can get all the way up to 12, the very, very end, you'll score 12 victory points. So nothing, possibly 6, possibly 12, depending on how far you got, and then you reset at the end of the 3rd round. This one, the beggar tile, if you do not give to the poor, if you're the one in last place, you lose 10 victory points. This is only once, only at the end of the game. And then second place loses 5. And then fighting the dragon, if you are first place, you get 17 out of this, just at the end of the game. Second place, 10. Third place, possibly 4. That's it. And you count up who's got the most points at the very end of the game, and whoever it is the winner of Medieval Academy. As I said before, every one of these tiles is a reverse side, which means you have two basic ways to play with every single one of these tiles. You can mix and match however you want to. I'm not going to go over most of these, just be aware they are in the game, and they give you a ton of variety. I will show you these 2 knights. The way these work in the basic game, whoops, that one's upside down. The way this works in the basic game is these 2 basically work the same exact way, independently, but they work the same way. If you want to play with the advanced game, you flip both of them over, you put them together, and the way that works is then whenever you have a token on both sides, so you would have a token here, and you would have a token there, and when you play a card, you can choose which one you affect. So let's say I want to do the white knight over here and the dark knight, so I would move this guy up 3, let's say, by playing this, and then the cup token, which would sit in the middle, will move towards the knight I picked as many spaces as the value on the card. And so players can continue doing that. They can affect either one. If someone plays on this side now, a 5, then we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they would have moved up 5 on this side, okay? And at the end of the round, then we score according to this chart here, which says whoever's got the cup will score 8, then 5, then possibly 2 if there's a third place, and whoever did not get the cup scores less. So it's really interesting. It's like a tug-of-war within the game, and this is the sort of thing you can expect. Medieval Academy is an excellent, excellent game for families and even for gamers. It flows very well. It has a very simple design, very simple approach to drafting, but it gives you a lot of fun for the simplicity that the game comes with. So you can teach it to just about anybody and get a fulfilling experience out of it. I love that you can focus on certain things that other people are not focusing on, try to run away with that. You can play the late game and try to go for, say, the dragon, or you can just try to, make a few points every round, do a little damage every round, and hope you survive, the end game scoring for not focusing on the big stuff. The game, as it says on the box here, is about 30 minutes, so really, it's basically a filler game. It's very quick, but artwork's gorgeous. Gameplay is smooth as can be. Great, great game. I highly recommend this one. If you think this is something that you would get played, and you've been looking for a good drafting game, a nice simple drafting game, this is just wonderful. Check this one out, folks. Medieval Academy.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.